Welcome back to the Couch Company Podcast. My name is John, and I'm joined, as always, by Tyler.
Hello, John.
How are you?
I'm very excited. This is going to be a new format.
This is going to be an interesting episode.
For this episode.
Absolutely. So this episode, we have just a mailbag. You guys submitted a bunch of questions, which is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Like that's super helpful whenever we're trying to just talk about stuff for an hour. You know, like
it really sparks conversation. Yeah. I'm looking forward to making a lot of people upset. Probably.
Absolutely.
After our tier list last week. How
the
much worse can we do?
Still is flowing in.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, let's be honest. So we have a bunch of questions today. That's just going to be the episode. We're going to be answering your questions. So
it's very loosey goosey. It's kind of chill, which I like.
Loosey goosey, absolutely. Lucy Donkey.
Lucy Donkey.
As you might.
You gotta watch the last episode.
Yeah,
that's fun.
A little inside joke for you there. So let's get it started. Tyler's got our first question off the bat here.
Yeah, I mean, let's ease into it.
Okay.
Right? So this
dipping
one,
the toe in the water.
This one's coming from our good friend Josh. He asks very simply, what is the best Saturday morning cartoon?
Yikes.
You are younger.
Yeah.
I kind of want you to go first, or do you need a minute to think?
No, one comes to mind immediately.
All right.
And this is a classic. Tom and Jerry. Was one
Tom
of my,
and Jerry, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Love me some Tom and Jerry.
That's not too old for you?
Nope. Because it was still on. It was so good that it was still on when I was my
I guess they did just come out with the Tom and Jerry movie.
Oh, that was awful though.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's been getting really bad reviews. No, I watched classic Tom and Jerry because they would do reruns of that Saturday mornings on like Cartoon Network, I believe. But it wasn't like those new versions. It was the OG stuff. So that's I'm sticking to the source material on that, the classics. Tom and Jerry, but all of those, because those were. That's not like Looney Tunes though, right? But is that the same realm?
Yeah. Actually, it's a very good
I don't
question.
think he's part of the Looney Tunes, but
I think he is.
Is he actually?
I think so.
Anyways, the only reason I'm saying that is because like another one I would think of is like Roadrunner. I always thought that was so funny. I love the Roadrunner. So those are the two classics that I can think of. If you're talking about something a little bit more my age, quote unquote, one that I always watched was, I don't know if you ever seen Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Yeah. I don't. So that's interesting because I don't particularly like that art style.
It was wacky. I just thought the show was so funny, man. It was just hilarious.
I don't think. I'm not saying I wasn't allowed to watch it, but I don't think that would be one that my mom would be too.
Yeah, I think my mom was kind of on me about that one too.
Little delinquents, but
yeah, it was funny though, man. I remember a lot of those. They're always trying to get the Jawbreaker. Are there any other ones I can think of? Saturday morning cartoons. I watched like Fairly Odd Parents.
Is this a normal thing? So Saturday morning cartoons was a big deal for me.
Yeah, it was not as like this has to be Saturday morning.
Yeah, like I feel like people
was
are
more
going to lose out on that, right?
Yeah. Although I will say, I literally watched Tom and Jerry Saturday mornings. Like
sure.
That was the thing I did.
But you don't have like a regiment. That's the thing. Is
right,
like I could literally list like, okay, at this slot it's this, at this slot it's this. It just like it goes down the line where you start Saturday morning and just see a couple.
We had that, like there would be shows slotted for things, but it wasn't as focused on Saturday morning as your time was, I'm sure. But those are the ones I'm thinking of off the top of my head. Tom and Jerry's my favorite, dude. That was my go-to,
which
is an interesting,
and that's awesome.
Yeah,
like that's pretty
cool. Dude, he's the best. Tom is the most sympathetic character,
more so than the coyote from Roadrunner. I guess he's trying to eat the Roadrunner, so it's probably like a serves you right
Tom's
type of thing.
Trying to kill the Jerry though.
Yeah.
Right?
So is he that sympathetic?
I don't know, man. The dude just can't catch a break.
Yeah,
he just can't. You feel bad for him. I always root for the underdog, and Tom just gets the worst of it.
The underdog. Okay. I mean, sure. All right. So I have a long.
Okay.
I have a long list.
I'm sure you. Yeah.
But some of the obviously standouts would be Batman animated series. That's a lock. That was a given. Definitely watch that. Darkwing Duck was one that I watched constantly. I think that was actually right after Batman, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the thing with these is that was actually on during the week too. So while it was on repeat Saturdays, typically it was a repeat of the show earlier in the week.
It was the same for me.
Yeah, so I didn't watch them on Saturday, right?
Because they did have this special Saturday morning cartoons, and it would be like Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry was part of that. So that was specific to that. Right. So.
I had a couple of phases where, so on Sunday mornings, I could get maybe a show in before having to go to church, right?
There you go.
So it was Dragon Ball Z for that one.
Heck
I get to watch some Dragon Ball Z. And some of the ones that
I'm sure... shocking that your parents let you watch that.
I don't think they really knew what it was.
Because back in that time, that was like when it was really gory and stuff.
No, this was on television there, so there was no really no gore there. Yeah,
gotcha.
At least not that I remember. I think
because I watched Dragon Ball Z when it was on Toonami, so those were Saturday nights cartoons.
So this was 100%
so
censored.
There were Saturday night cartoons where it was Naruto, and these were anime pretty much. It was Dragon Ball Z, it was Samurai Jack, Bleach, like all this stuff. Like it was some hardcore shit.
This was the Babby versions of all of that. But so I would do those. Some of the ones that the interesting thing was, so there was an Aladdin cartoon.
Yep, I remember
that I thought was pretty good.
Out of any of the cartoons that Disney made, that was one of
them. Which just shows you why Aladdin is the best Disney movie.
Sure.
Which is a whole other ranking system. We will get into that some other day. But then the kind of the main things that I remember, like whenever I think specifically Saturday morning cartoons.
Yep.
I was in the era where you had they started experimenting with 3D models and stuff.
Oh wow! Okay.
So I'm talking like Beast Wars, which looks it's janky. It does not hold up. I'm talking Reboot. Which
you were saying words.
Yep,
and I have
and you're just glossing over.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there are people out there that know those two, but that's kind of what I watch. But
interesting. Yeah. I remember another one that comes to mind is Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah, that's good. So you were very much like Cartoon Network was your go-to
Was I a
place?
Cartoon Network guy? Yeah, probably. I mean, I did dabble with the Nickelodeon, with the Disney Channel. Those were the big three.
So none of those channels existed when I watched.
What did you watch it on?
They might. I shouldn't say that. They might have existed. We did not have cable,
so
I turned on channel 22, and whatever the hell is on that is what I watched.
There you go. So those are the three channels I watched.
Or Fox 53.
Fox 53, because my kitchen didn't have cable box.
Funky Fresh Fun for all Fox
kids. I remember
kids.
watching, there was like 4Kids was the thing. I think that was Saturday mornings on like Fox. So there was like Yu-Gi-Oh! And
Pokemon was probably on there.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I remember that stuff. Yeah.
But thanks, Josh. That was a good
trip down memory
lane. Yeah. So we do have another question. We actually have a double-parter because Abby. So thank you, Abby.
Abby loves the double-parters, which I enjoy.
And they're related, but it's a good question both ways. So let me bring this up. This is great for Pawn. I should have had this prepped better.
You always do this.
I do this.
See, what I should have done
specifically
is
with Abby. I
did
apologize.
One of mine, and then
that would have been smart.
It's what a professional might do.
All right. So, random question for your podcast.
Excellent.
Has a video game or movie made you interested in trying something you never thought you would, or made you interested in traveling to somewhere unexpected? So that's the first one.
Right. Why don't you start with this? This is a tough one for me. I have to think about this one actually a little bit because I'm sure there have been.
Sure.
And there's a couple examples going through my head, but nothing that's really amazing. So
one that comes to mind that I actually never acted on, but it made me interested in actually doing it is drumming. So because Rock Band 2 was so close to kind of like what you do in like drums and things like that, that made me actually contemplate. I'm like, do I like drumming? Do I want to kind of do that? And I never did, but that was something that I was interested in. Another one would be almost like kind of like logic programming. So there was a game called Baya Is You or Baba Is You, and it's this like this puzzle game and stuff.
Yeah,
but you have to like solve different puzzles by thinking outside of the box and essentially breaking the game. So it will give you a bunch of logic things saying like, okay, if you see a black box, you can always walk through that black box. So then it's taking that and solving these puzzles by using the game's logic and then breaking the logic and thinking like a developer.
Yeah.
Which made me want to start like, do I like logic? Do I want to start programming? And so, turns out, no, I don't. It's not the greatest. It's fun, but so that was one. And then another one was like this automation thing for like factories and stuff like that. And again, it goes into this idea of, or even look at like RPG Maker, right? Like where you play an RPG, you play Final Fantasy VII, you're like, I want to make one of those, or I want to try writing, or I want to try character creation. So stuff like that. I don't know if that's exactly what Abby was asking about. And
I think it's great.
The only other place, which was actually super cool, was doing something like going to New York and like actually pointing out different things I saw in like Spider-Man or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really cool.
That's a good one, actually. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Pretty excited about that.
Okay, yeah, those are all really good examples. I was able to concoct a couple ideas in my head. A couple different examples. I guess I'll start with maybe some things that video games got me kind of interested in. Maybe I didn't follow through with them necessarily. First thing that comes to mind is, have you ever played SSX games?
Sure. Yeah.
Snowboarding, man. I played SSX 3. That was the game I had. So much fun. That just made you want to just shred down a mountain, bro. Like, go to Colorado and just do that. I've never been snowboarding. I'm sure it wouldn't be as awesome as that because you do some wild things in that game. But it is so cool. That game's so cool, and the soundtrack's amazing. Gets you super hyped, and like that would just be a lot of fun. I think being able to go down. Now, like I said, in that game, there's like avalanches and stuff that you have to like race, like beat and everything.
Your first time on a snowboard, if you're not doing triple front flips and outrunning an avalanche, what are you even doing with your life?
So that's one thing that comes to mind. A recent example is that I've been talking to you about is Forza really getting me like into cars. So I've been watching all these car videos and stuff, really looking at that. Really interesting and cool, and it makes me want to like race cars and stuff. Not that I have, but that's always really interesting to me. And then the third thing, actually, so I just recently this year played Persona 4, and there's like a fishing mini game in that, and it's so peaceful and relaxing. It makes me like want to fish, dude.
That's how I felt with Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
There's a fishing mechanic in there, and I'm just like, I kind of just want to do that.
This looks awesome. Like, what
or
if I actually did this?
Fish,
so that made me like want to go fish, which was kind of cool as well. So nice. Those are like the things that I could think of off the top of my head. Places, I have a couple.
Yeah.
One would be the from my PS2 era, Sly Cooper. Mm-hmm. Takes place in France. France is kind of cool, man, especially when you're snooping around and stealing things. Okay. So you're like on the rooftops and stuff. So France would be interesting to like go visit. But another thing that came to mind, Spider-Man was a great example, New York, but I was thinking Assassin's Creed, Italy, like Rome and stuff, sure. Like going around there again, rooftops, seeing all of those kind of buildings and things like in their heyday, quote unquote. I don't know how accurate the game is, but it was cool. Like that would be a cool thing to go and be like, oh, I remember when I stove off that as Ezio. So
hey, there's the hay bale.
It's still here.
I was right there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah.
All right.
Great question though.
Yeah. And she has kind of like almost like an opposite version of this, which I think is a little interesting. But she said also reverse, has a movie or game ruined an activity, food, hobby, or place for you?
That's interesting. Yeah, so SSX has ruined snowboarding for me after I got buried by an... No, just kidding. That's a tough one. I'd have to think about that. I'm sure Resident Evil has ruined something for me. Probably like dogs or something. I remember Resident Evil 2 when these dogs would jump through the windows at you. It was like a jump scare right at the beginning of the game. That was the worst. BioShock's probably ruined sewers for me for life. Never will do that. I'm trying to think. Anything come to mind for you?
No, see, I had one.
Subnautica has ruined underwater for me forever.
Sure, something like that. Yeah. I think like it still goes into the
Dead Space has ruined space for me forever. I will never go in a space station.
They're remaking Dead Space. Yeah, we probably gonna have to play that, right?
Yeah,
like we're gonna have to
I think I played one.
Sure.
I didn't play the rest of them. One was good though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a big horror game guy is the thing.
Well, neither mine. I think that's why it makes it so good, right?
I have a really good one. This isn't a game. This is a movie.
Okay.
The reason I'm afraid of needles is because of Saw 4 or 3.
Okay.
Or 2. One of the Saws.
I'm pretty sure all the Saws just stick needles in various...
This girl gets thrown into a pit of hypodermic needles.
That's going to be... Yeah, it might be like 1 or 2.
1 or 2? Yeah, it's a classic one, right? And she's got to swim her way through and find the key or whatever. That's why I'm afraid of needles. It was horrifying for me. Scarred me for life.
It's super not great.
So, I don't know if that counts. It's not really an experience. I'm never going to dive into it.
It's never gonna happen.
It did create a phobia for me, so I think that counts.
Yeah.
Anything food related? That was an interesting point she made. Food specifically that
would make you dislike food.
Yeah, I can't really think of it. Like everything coming to my head is like good food. It's usually appealing, right? So
I'm not being much helpful with this one. But
maybe there's something there.
I think you can add books, but I mean that's green eggs and ham are good at the end of the book, right? I mean that's.
Yeah, but not for me. I wouldn't eat that shit. It's fucking green, man. Get sick. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anything specifically. For
if I
food.
think of mine, I might interject and completely derail whatever we're on. But yeah, it's a very good.
Saw ruined my life, though. Essentially, is what I'm saying.
This is why you don't do horror.
Needles. I don't do horror well. Yeah, like Outlast was another one. I'm very bad with blades and stuff. And when he like chops like your fingers off. Oh. I was nope, we're done.
Yeah.
No, we are done with that one. I don't know. Nothing. No. Saving Private Ryan ruined Normandy for me. I
would not go.
We don't want to go to war.
Would not do that. I'm sure.
Does that count? Black Ops ruined Nam for me. I don't know.
Yeah, like I would think like, oh, okay, like you're watching Titanic and you're like, do I want to go on a cruise? Like,
yeah, sure. That's something. Yeah, definitely.
I don't think that would actually ruin it though. Like,
no, I don't.
I'm trying to think of things where. Maybe if you watched like a plane go down in like in a TV show, it makes you like start wondering. Yeah, but
that plane crashes and then you're stuck in that fucking
the whole mind control thing.
Oh my god, that's a good game though, man.
Anytime I see numbers, I'm wondering if I'm getting like subconsciously like influenced by the Russians.
You're a sleeper agent, yeah, for sure. I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know. That's really all I can think about.
All right, well, hit me with the next one. Let's see.
Yeah, okay. So I got some for you here. This comes from my friend Devin. This is a pretty good one. If you could switch lives with someone for a day,
24-hour period.
24-hour period.
All right.
So an Earth Day.
An Earth Day.
Who would you switch with?
Does it have to be an Earth Day? That's actually a fantastic question.
Well, I'm thinking in Mass Effect terms. Where they actually tell you the orbital period for every planet.
Right.
So some planets are like 102 hours a day.
Now, would you have to be on that planet for that to apply?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because it depends on how fast you're revolving around the sun. That's the whole
right. But what I'm saying is, like, if you wanted to be,
actually, it's not the revolving around the sun.
Continue the question.
It's the planet turning. That's your period of time.
Right.
Where the sun goes all the way around the planet.
Yes.
So that's 24 hours on Earth. If anyone didn't know that.
If you wanted to. But I'm sorry. Continue.
Continue the
question.
That's
Let's repeat the question because you've been interrupting.
So if you could switch lives with someone for a day, who would you switch with? It could be someone that's dead or fictional.
Yeah.
Now there are a couple factors we need to consider here. One, yes, if you're switching with someone on a different planet because they're fictional, which I would say it's wherever they are. It's for that amount of time.
Or what if you want to switch to someone that can go to a different planet, and if you just wanted to be in their body longer, can you just fly to a planet with longer?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Actually, no. We should keep it just 24 hours.
24 hours. We're on Earth. Okay.
Yeah, we're on Earth.
I got you.
You can go anywhere else, but it's a 24-hour Earth period.
Yeah.
Like a timer starts after the 24 hours on Earth. You come back onto your body. So there's something that's not entirely obvious about this question that's very fascinating.
Okay.
You're switching bodies. That person gets your body for 24 hours.
That poor person.
Yeah.
Can you imagine switching with an athlete and you go in?
They feel so weak.
Yeah, they like you switch bodies and they come into this body and it's just like I'm an Olympic athlete. I can I can jump higher than
you probably might end up in a hospital because they could think they could do all these things and your body will just fall apart.
They take 3 steps and they just are winded or something. And they're just like, I don't know. What is this moisture coming out of my forehead?
I've never felt this before.
Sweat? Yeah.
So some of the things I was thinking about before are actually really bad when you take that into consideration. Like, man, I wonder what it would be like to rule Rome. I want to be Caesar. Do I want Caesar to control my body? I'm going to come back and be in charge of Pittsburgh or something. Like,
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's not geographically accurate. But if you
he switches with me.
Oh, so you're saying Caesar is going to just
Caesar's
start
consciousness
conquering.
Comes into my body.
That's how dedicated Caesar is in
what
24
would he do?
hour
This guy's
time.
Ambitious. He'd get started.
For 24 hours.
I would come back and there'd be a notebook.
At least there'll be a couple of notes jotting down like, well, here's how I would take over Wexford.
Here's you know what I mean?
Pittsburgh seems weak on the left side. No, so do you think that they have to understand that they like? Are you subconsciously being
just
like, hey,
for fun, they understand.
They understand. So it's like a mutual, hey, we're just going to
because
swap
if they don't
bodies.
understand, they're not going to do anything. They're going to take 24 hours to realize
have a
what's
heart
going on.
attack
And you'll die. So let's say there's a mutual, as this transfer is taking place.
See, guidelines are important. That's very good. Yeah.
Both parties know what's going on, and both parties have the collective knowledge of each other for the 24-hour period.
Do you have to have...
So languages, the languages. Okay. Each party knows both languages that either of them would know. You're sharing all knowledge for 24 hours of both parties.
Got it.
So they know your backstory. They know everything about you, everything you've ever remembered.
Oh.
Okay. See, this, it was a pretty straightforward kind of question that is completely flipped now that we've established the ground rules.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
I think it'd be fun if we do one person who's alive, one person who's dead, and one fictional character.
Okay.
So just like a 3 kind of get well-rounded kind of deal.
Sure.
I will start.
Go for it.
Fictional character. Superman.
Yes.
Done.
That seems pretty...
I want to fly. I want to be invincible for a day. I want to see what it feels like to be the most powerful person ever. Yep. Easy.
I feel like that's a very simple...
It's simple, but I don't even care. I can do anything.
Yeah, like what can you do? I think... So my initial thing was like, I want to be like the Flash. I just fly around and everything. Like just run around. But like Superman's just like...
Superman's better.
Fine. Yeah, exactly.
I get to save the day. I get to stop all the bad guys. I can fly, heat vision, ice breath.
See, that's a good question.
Strength.
Would you go and try to stop crime, or would you be just so?
I want to live Superman for a day. I want to be the hero. I want to stop crime. I want everyone to cheer for me.
I would argue you would probably murder the hell out of any supervillain. Like, you got to think about this. Minute 1, you go to open a door and the door is off the hinges.
Now we established that we know everything about each other.
Oh, so you know how to control your abilities and stuff. Gotcha.
Are we taking that away though? Because
no, you don't have to. No, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
So you would crime fight for. See, you're much more a good person for the world than me. I guess, to be fair, selfishly, because at me it's like, I want to fly around and do this stuff and be super cool. At some point, I feel like in a 24-hour span, you're going to be like, all right, let's see what I can actually do. And then you need to let that out on someone. So it's like, oh, the purse mugger. I don't think those are a thing. I assume those are things.
Throw him into the sun. Yeah, I mean... I wouldn't even say it's being selfless. My ego is so big. It's like, I want everyone to cheer for me. So I'm going to stop the bad guys.
Are there any rules around completely changing the world? Like, think about it. If you have a fictional character.
If you're Superman, you could change the world in a heartbeat.
No, I know. But are you going to. So is the fictional character coming into our world as we know it now? Like as Earth? Or are you going are we
that's
flipping
a good question. I would say you go to his world. Very.
So he turns into just
Disney
a
movie where,
human.
Yeah.
Like a Wreck-It Ralph. Is that what you're talking
about? Well, I think I do that in Wreck-It Ralph, but I'm thinking of that Disney movie where Enchanted. Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah.
Where he's a prince and he
but she still has like
princess.
Powers.
Does she?
Yeah. She's like talking with birds and stuff. I know this is way off topic.
Okay,
but,
sure.
Yeah.
But it would be different because he would be you.
Yeah.
So.
Ironically, that lady was Lois Lane.
Hey!
So
it all ties together.
Bring it back.
There we go.
Yeah, no, it would definitely be Superman.
You get to
100%.
bang Lois Lane. That's cool.
You can't.
Why?
Oh, I guess she would be around there.
Yeah, you get to go to comic book world.
I don't really care about Lois Lane.
I would do it. I get to be
well,
Superman
yeah,
for
but
24
I am
hours.
also so that'd be a little weird because it's like, well, I'm engaged.
Oh
so
yeah,
I
for you, sure.
really do
For
that.
me, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd hang out with Jimmy Olsen.
Fuck Jimmy, dude. He sucks. Dude, Jimmy sucks.
Oh, poor Jimmy.
He's boring.
James is all right.
I don't think he likes being called James. Anyways.
So here's the only thing: is Superman more fun than someone like Spider-Man? Probably.
Maybe, for me, yes.
Probably. Like,
I would
love
fly
to,
at supersonic speed.
Yeah, and like actually go out in outer space just for the heck of it.
For someone else, maybe not. Maybe they want to swing around. Maybe they want to stay in New York. Maybe they want to be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
I think I would have to do Superman because while I thought it would be kind of cool to be like, oh, I can like climb walls and everything. Like I'm terrified of heights. I assume that I would continue to be terrified of heights.
Yeah, because
it's
you're
me
a combination
in their body.
of both. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I would
Superman
die to kryptonite. So
well, at least
see how that feels.
Yeah, I mean, super.
When
can you imagine that? What a terrible day! Like
Here's
the
the problem.
day that you flip
Batman
is when Lex Luthor
instantly
comes in there.
figures out that I'm not Superman anymore. So he
Yeah.
tries to stop me because he has no idea who I am.
Who he is? Yeah.
That's
man.
bad.
But that's like a twofer. You get to meet Batman. That's pretty cool,
Hey,
right?
Batman shoots me with a kryptonite gun.
That's pretty good.
He'd interrogate me.
Yeah.
It would be funny, but Batman would be right on that shit. Like,
oh yeah, no.
stopping you.
He would be like the moment you flip, he would just be sitting
He'd
in
just
like
know,
a couch with like a pipe, like shame shot. So anyway, so what's the next guy? Are you dead or alive?
So we're both Superman, or
100%. Unless we can't, and
Sure.
I can pick someone else.
Oh, you can pick someone else.
I would be Batman. That defeats the purpose.
No.
How cool would that be, though?
If we were Superman, Batman,
yeah, that'd
we'd be
pretty,
unstoppable.
That'd be pretty easy.
But you don't have any powers, though.
I don't have any powers, but it's like Superman. What do you want?
You're
Like,
Batman.
yeah, like,
That's awesome. Okay, let's do a dead person.
a dead person. All right.
You go first on this one.
Oh, that's you ass. All right. For a dead person, I would. Okay, so this is actually just me being an idiot.
Okay, I love it.
I would love to be Elvis.
Elvis Presley.
Yes.
That's a really good one.
And solely to screw with people. Where you're just like walking around like, yeah, I'm Elvis. But like, I'm talking like, but like, not like the bad years of Elvis. I'm talking like Elvis,
prime. He's the most
whatever.
famous person in the world. Yeah.
Well, I might go back on that. The problem is there's so many Elvis impersonators that are probably, people wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
But you would be in his time period.
That's right.
Yeah, you go to his world, so you're going to his time period, which would still be awesome.
So here's a question: can you die in that world, or
if
whatever?
you pick the moment where they die?
What happens? when you die?
No. Yes, you can die.
What happens when you die?
You go back to your body. I don't know.
Okay, so you can't like F up and just
Are you gonna kill Elvis?
No, I'm not gonna kill Elvis.
Do?
I'm just saying like what could happen
if you die. You go back to your body. I guess. I don't know.
Man.
That got way darker than I thought it was going to be.
I'm not trying to be dark about it because it's like, oh, I go back.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to go back.
But if he dies in your body, then you're screwed.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh.
You think Elvis would die in your body? Maybe he'd do a bunch of drugs.
No, I would hope not. I mean, well, maybe. I don't know.
I think he'd be like looking around, like fascinated with the technology.
Yeah.
Like so far in the future.
Actually, that would be kind of interesting. That would be kind of fun to just kind of see like what the difference was. You know what? Maybe I do pick someone from like the Roman era. Not to steal your Caesar thing, but like that would always be interesting.
What would it be like to rule a nation?
Yeah.
Like not even like president, like Caesar.
Yeah.
Like something crazy like that.
Nixon's dead, right?
Who?
Nixon? He's dead.
Yeah.
Pick Nixon.
Why?
Just want to see what's up. How much do you know? Like,
okay,
I don't know.
Sure, that's cool.
But I don't know. I'm not sure.
Caesar or Nixon or Elvis? Okay.
Yeah,
interesting. I very different.
Okay.
Torn between two. I would either be Einstein.
Okay.
Or Beethoven or Mozart or someone.
Yeah, I can see that.
I want to see what it feels like to be a genius. So there's Einstein, and
that's so much better than mine. That's
the other one
really
too.
cool to see.
Like, well, how does it feel to be one of the best musicians of all time?
But if it's you, and you know everything they knew, but up to a point, can your brain handle that?
Maybe not. Maybe I just die. Theoretically, I could. I don't know. That would be an interesting.
Yeah, so you're saying you swap bodies, but you are
I am using Einstein's brain at that point.
Yeah, is
so maybe he warps into my body and just dies.
Oh my gosh! And he runs into
just has an aneurysm from
yeah.
not having enough IQ to understand what the hell is going on. You know.
I gotcha. Yeah.
But what does it feel like to just be that intelligent?
Just to know everything.
Not even everything, but just know so much and just ponder the universe and actually have good questions.
That's a good one.
And to find answers. And that's a good one.
It's a good one.
Okay, live. This is the most boring one in my opinion.
I think this one is the
best one.
This is the one I would most look forward to.
Go.
Jeff Bezos.
yeah, that's good. That is good.
My sole goal for 24 hours would be, well, there are two goals. Okay. One, if I'm being a nice guy, trying to be as humanitarian as try to improve some organizations. Right. But I would siphon as much money as humanly possible and just Oprah
how much would Tyler's in life improve in 24 hours under Jeff Bezos?
The crazy thing with that is you give me.
So he knows you work at Dick's. He knows what your position is.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Wow. Hey, boss, I got a couple ideas to put us on the map.
So not only it's like a double, like a win-win.
You're just improving Tyler's life tenfold.
Not only do I get to steal all of Jeff Bezos, not all of the money, but enough to stay under the radar where he probably doesn't notice it missing.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a little nest egg. I'll just hide it in some offshore account that I have a password to or something. I don't know how banks work. And meanwhile, he's improving my life tenfold. He's like, this guy is sad.
Just improve
He's terrible. Yeah. I'm just going to go assert myself and become the CEO of blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It'd be hilarious. It'd be really fun.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
My thought is way different. I would probably pick The Rock. Just being everyone loves you.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Okay.
The best actor ever. Or Tom Brady.
Do you think if you were Leonardo DiCaprio, and I don't pretend to know their actual personalities, do you think you would people would be treating you differently or afraid of you, or you would get a glimpse into how people
maybe it would suck. Maybe just being that famous sucks. But
and here's a second question. Let's say you're already Superman and you jump into The Rock's body.
Yeah.
Does it
we're saying I'm saving Superman for last.
Superman is last. Oh, okay.
Although if we are going in the order, then The Rock doesn't even matter. At that point, I would want to be like Tom Brady.
Weak,
because I can pick when I am Tom Brady, so I'd pick any Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What is it like to win a Super Bowl? Easy.
That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. That's who I'd pick. Some athlete.
Right.
Some athlete win a championship. I'm never going to do that. That would be fucking awesome.
I would love to either be and the problem is I assume we would have to name somebody to trade places with our body. I would just like to kind of throw out in the universe of who is the best musician or who is the best artist or whatever, and just flip places with them where you could just and they might not even be known, right?
Sure.
You have all these different, and it's all subjective technically because it's everything, it's art, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you could just find one person that's this person singing voice is just incredible.
Right.
I think that'd be fun to do. But
random person, sure.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Good question.
That's pretty good.
Thank you, Devin. Appreciate that. Got another one here.
Yep.
This is from my friend Leah from work.
Hello, Leah from work.
What's that?
I was just saying hello to Leah from work.
Yes, Leah from work. Her nickname is Lee P. So that's what everyone calls her.
Okay.
This question's a little different. Broad, but that's okay. What are some red flags to watch out for in life?
Just in life.
Just
a red flag in life. Okay.
We're decently experienced, I guess. So if you could go to younger Tyler and tell him about some pitfalls.
Sure.
What would you tell him?
All right. First off, if you see a red flag in life, proceed with caution.
Sure.
Like a physical red flag. So
I think Tyler probably do that
that's
already.
Standard.
But sure.
So red flags in life would be...
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. If you already have something.
I would tell my younger self don't care what other people think as much. Yeah, in the end, it doesn't matter. Like, that's such a cliche, but it's so true. The amount of hours you waste thinking about, especially in like high school and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What other people think, how you're being perceived, and ultimately what never matters. You don't see 99% of these people ever again. That is.
Do you loop like embarrassment in there?
Yeah.
Just like try to put yourself out there and not
go for things. Yeah.
Don't be so self-conscious all the time.
Like so many things I have said no to because like I won't look cool or like things like that. Like I remember I like didn't try out for like the play or something or the musical or something my senior year because like I was like, oh man, I'll just suck. Like
right.
Everyone wanted me to though, but I should have. It would have been fun. And even if I did suck, who cares? Like it's high school, man.
Yeah.
It was just put in another memory, right? So that's the biggest thing I would say. I would also say put all your life savings on Leicester City in 2015. You'd be rich as fuck. And Amazon.
That's a red flag.
Red flag.
That's a red flag.
No, I guess something more.
Don't gamble, maybe.
It's kind of fun. No, yeah. I don't know.
I could leapfrog off your so I would say relationships don't matter in high school.
Sure. Yeah.
Obviously like they can be. It's important to have relationships, but how much time is spent on the social structure and dynamic of high school and different things like it's not healthy. I think a big red flag in life. Not because this isn't like what would we change if we could go back in time type of thing. So sticking with like the red flags in life, I think the biggest red flag in life right now is like social media and not to keep talking about Bo Burnham's inside. And I'm not saying it's like the perfect move, but like he brings up a lot of good stuff where it's like the biggest red flag now is just being fake and online and I think that's honestly out of all like that's the main one.
You lose who you really are kind of because you have this fake persona.
Yeah,
and it ties into what I was saying too because how many people compare themselves to other people that just aren't these things aren't real
right
that you're seeing online, whether things are doctored, things are obviously made to look better than they are, whether it's physically or financially or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You never know what a person's actually going through and you see just a window into their life that could be completely fake. So the biggest red flag is when you start comparing yourself to others, I feel, for myself. Because that's when you get down, that's when you think you're not good enough. You need to be better than yourself every day. That's kind of the philosophy I've been going with. And, you know, the things we're doing with this as well, whether it's the podcast, streaming, making our own game when we start that's helped me with that because that's what I try to take into this endeavor as well. Like, okay, let's be better than the last time we turned on the mics.
Yep.
Let's be better than the last time we booted up this game. And it's a good philosophy, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's a green flag. You want to go with that. That's
yes, the green flag. Red flag, no, don't compare yourself.
That's a good question. We got a little deep on that one, but
it's a deep question. You want me to hit you with one more? This one's a two-parter. Okay. This comes from Emily. I went to school with her.
Okay.
Thank you, Emily, for this question. Two-parter. It's a good one. How are video games made to be so realistic these days? Is the first part. So let's answer that because the second part's not really.
She's asking how games are made, or.
It's, I guess, my interpretation would be how we feel about things trying to be more and more realistic.
Gotcha.
Because I don't know how much insight we could actually give into. I'm sure you could do better than me. And how games are made.
On how they're actually made. Like, well, they scan in the textures of this rock.
Which is actually fascinating. Like, I was watching the Forza thing, and they literally scanned this whole volcano from Mexico.
Flight Simulator has all the
like rocks, everything. Wow, disgusting. So I guess there's a little peek into that if that's what you meant. How I'm taking it is more how do we feel about the gaming industry always pushing to be more realistic. You know, everything looks better and better, graphics improve. Kind of, are we getting away from like what video games are supposed to be? Is this what video games are supposed to be? Like if we go back to like retro things like Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Pong, Tetris, they're not real.
Sure.
They're pixels, but like we were talking about in another episode, that's a style of art that's still popular today, pixel art. So I guess what are your feelings on that endeavor, trying to chase perfection when it comes to visually appealing or realism in gaming?
Yeah, it's tough because if we're talking realistic, we're talking about like our world.
Yeah,
is that
right? I mean, I would assume like even if it isn't our world, something like God of War is trying to
so
make
you're
it
considering that still realistic, is in
it's
like
humanoids. The human anatomy. Kratos' abs are trying to look real,
right?
Like they look really good. They're not perfectly sculpted. They're kind of off kilter a little bit.
I didn't look too closely at his abdomen, but
I don't know how you could look at anything else.
Yeah, I'll take
I'm gonna be honest with you. That guy is sexy.
I think it's important. I think you need those games just like you need indie pixel art
it's a balance.
Games and things like that. Yeah. I think that as far as me personally enjoying like the realistic games and things like that, I don't care so much. I'm looking at more of like the lighting and like what is the overall aesthetic versus like, so for instance, my cousin will play a game and he really gravitates towards the realistic look.
Sure.
So like real world stuff, like if you're playing between something like a Destiny 2 or a Battlefield or Call of Duty, he's always going to go with the Battlefield, Call of Duty, stuff like that.
Right.
You look at someone like Nate who is playing like Tarkov or something where it's just very realistic, both in gameplay and visuals and stuff like that. For me personally, I would actually probably gravitate towards something a little bit more fantastical, a little bit less realistic in that regard.
Sure.
But the flip side of that is the only realistic thing that I would love in games is realistic lighting.
Yeah.
So like for something like Minecraft where that's about as far from real as you can get because everything's all blocky and stuff. But once you introduce the realistic lighting of it, I think that, me personally, that's my perfect mix.
That water too.
Yeah.
In Minecraft is amazing.
Yeah, I mean the water's fantastic in like Sea of Thieves too.
Right, and not very realistic. It's a very cartoon-esque.
Right, but the water is real, and like that's the thing is I don't think the entire game needs to be real because that's when you start running into the issue of like the uncanny valley, where if the entire thing is real, you will start picking out the tiny bits that aren't real.
Right.
But if you flip that, at least again, purely subjective for me, if you flip that and you go, hey, here's this fantastical thing with elements of real lighting, real shadows, all that kind of thing, like ray tracing and all that.
Sure.
I will always gravitate towards that first.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. For me, I tend to agree. I don't know if I sway one way or other because at the end of the day, I don't think the visuals will always be the ultimate decider for whether I like a game or not. I'm more story-driven, character-driven, as I've said numerous times, but I do enjoy the realism a lot because that draws me into it more. Something like a Battlefield, where that's what they're going for. I want to feel like I'm in the war zone.
You want that immersion.
Right. I want the dirt on my face when a mortar goes off near me. I want the ringing in my ears. I know that's not really visual, but I want all that aspects to it. Something I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn. That's pretty realistic, even though it's in a fantastical world.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah.
But the character expressions in that game are fantastic. How they emote, how they talk to each other, which really adds to the experience. When you're talking to someone, you can really see the emotion on their face. So something like that really adds to the experience for me. So I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. Like, again, it depends what you're going for. One of my recent favorite games is Hades, and it's a shaded cell kind of art style.
Yeah, like all illustrated.
Cartoon, right? Yeah. It's like all drawings.
But so I guess my question is...
It's amazing, though.
Does it work both ways? Can you take a game, and this is kind of expanding on Emily's question, but like, can you take a game like Hades, and do you think it's improved if it turns into a realistic game?
No, I think it makes it worse. And this is what I'm going to say when you take Dragon Ball Z and you try to make it live action. You can't.
Right.
Nothing's as ridiculous as Goku blowing up planets. You're just never going to get that in a live action thing. Like you can, but it doesn't feel the same, I guess.
Yeah. But if you take something that is realistic, like Earth, the world, and you turn it into the opposite and like pull out the realism,
that's more easy to do.
Yeah.
Or more feasible to do.
Like Minecraft. Yeah, exactly.
Like you take Marvel's movies and you make a cartoon on that. I'm more willing to like that than the other way around. You take a cartoon and try to make it live action. Yeah. Just doesn't work.
Which is super interesting, but
yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's a place for it. Like
there's definitely a place for it.
You need a Battlefield. You need something to point to say, "Holy crap! Look at how far games have come."
Because we want to push our technology. We want to push that. It's human nature. We want to innovate and get better. And it's getting really good.
It's getting very, very
really good.
I cannot wait for Battlefield.
Horizon 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's gonna be good.
Great question. All right, part 2 of that.
That's actually a pretty good segue because technically, I'm sorry, the part 2.
There's part 2. Did you want to do that first, or because that does tie in with another question we had? But I'll do part 2.
Yeah, go do part 2.
If you could design a game, what game would it be?
Yeah.
So for this, I guess I'll expand on it a little bit, just with my interpretation. I know we've talked about a lot of games. We love doing that, theory crafting things. Couch Company games. Unlimited budget.
I thought we were like big boy games or big.
We were, but then we got a lawsuit.
Oh my, that's right.
So
I've been meaning to write them back too. I need to. You say, no, I do not want to pay. Anyway,
Couch Company games. Yeah. Unlimited budget. One project we get. Any game genre. What do we do?
That was a squeaky bottle. I apologize.
So we've talked about the best MMO. We've talked about RPGs.
Yeah.
It's tough for me.
So I can tell you what's top of mind right now.
Okay.
It's called Acoustic. I've been thinking a lot about... So our friend group is very much into Tarkov right now. They've been playing it a ton, and they're playing that. I would love to take Tarkov and Fortnite it in the way of take a game that is kind of niche and that people are playing.
Okay.
And kind of change it up and make it a little bit more mainstream. And like put a kind of wacky spin on it. So if you take something like a Tarkov and you make it like a probably a shooter out of it or something.
What elements are you taking from Tarkov? The realism of
only the good stuff. So basically the inventory. No. So for Tarkov, I think the idea is I love this aspect of being dropped into a map and just scavenging. I don't know. And this is very subjective. This is like Tyler's perfect game type of thing.
Right.
I love going in with nothing, scavenging, packing your cheeks full of those nuts, and then getting out to become stronger, basically.
Yeah.
I would make a more accessible version of that. Like you don't need to use a scroll wheel to adjust your speed or crouch height or all that kind of BS.
That's ridiculous.
So I would get all rid of that. I would get rid of the idea of if you like die, you lose just everything constantly.
Okay.
Like there would be more arcadey rules around it where like if you're going into a specific area to hunt or do whatever, the I guess like the risks of it and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I also would not make it realistic. Kind of to tie back, I would make this more in the form of like a Borderlands style game or something that's super wacky where you're finding like crazy spring, and if you put that in a clip, it fires faster. Like jetpack, and if you put it on you can fly, or if you put it on your bullet goes faster or whatever. But make this super 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 modular thing that would be just impossible for people to min-max, which would be the challenge of our game.
And really fun to just mess around with. Like you can put anything to anything.
Yeah, like people think they understand the game, and then all of us... Because, I mean, think about everything in Minecraft, or even like freaking Breath of the Wild, where you give people free reign with the systems enough, and they just blow it out of water. And now if you do that on a mass scale where it's just like, hey, we want you to break our game. Like, we want you to find enough springs that when you put them on your shoe and jump off the tallest building in the game, you like go into outer space and there's a secret level there or something insane. I want this game that people talk about as in like, you never know what you are going to see when you jump in. I think that'd be really fun if you had like an unlimited budget and creativity and stuff.
That would be awesome. I think you'd lose all the Tarkov people, but
no Tarkov person. But that's the thing, is people that play Fortnite.
You're essentially saying let's take Tarkov and just boot out all the Tarkov people.
Yeah, because you're going to make more money.
You will.
It's no different than PUBG and Fortnite.
True.
Fortnite, like my nephew would never play PUBG.
No.
But
that's a good point.
It's taking a good idea.
You're gonna be hitting more people.
Yeah.
Now, is that your goal? You just make as much money as you can.
Well, if the Jeff Bezos thing doesn't work out, then I need a kind of like a fallback.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you have an unlimited budget. You might as well just pocket it.
It's not about the money as so much as what would I want to play. I don't enjoy Tarkov.
Yeah.
For a myriad of reasons, and maybe it's just me being a filthy casual or something. But I want something that's more fun, less serious.
Yeah.
And really just get down to the gameplay and just the uniqueness and drawing in on the community.
Yeah, it's about the experience too, right? Like that, to me, you're going to get a bunch of awesome stories with that kind of game.
So. I mean, like, because you just never know
dude,
what you're going to do.
If I combine a banana and a clip, it makes a banana clip.
Yeah.
Like stupid stuff like that.
It could be really dumb.
Right, like really dumb
stuff.
and...
Or like if you fire like a bullet and it suddenly is like a flamethrower or a sprinkler that's just spinning around. I mean, and Borderlands has similar things, but it's letting the community like just really break your game. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, that does sound cool.
So what do you got?
What do I got for unlimited budget?
Yeah. I would 2 budgets.
Well, I mean, we can go with yours.
If it's unlimited, we can
do both.
Make
sure.
2 games.
Yeah. I would do the game we talked about in one of our previous episodes, the kind of a shooter.
What if our
but
games were combined? But
well,
go on,
I was thinking that.
Refresh my memory on.
Okay, so it's a shooter, but there's multi levels to it, where it's actually a strategy game on a higher level.
Sure.
So it's essentially a shooter for half the player base and RTS for the other half of the player base. We talked about how it could be an app on an iPad or something, and you can draw out certain battle strategies, sections of the map where you want your players to go. We go really in depth on this for like an hour and a half. But that would be so fun. I mean, you have 2 different types of games working in conjunction with each other. So there's like a team element that we've never seen before in a game, at least done well. Because like we said, Battlefield tried to do something with this idea, but the commander didn't really have much say in the map at all.
Right.
In this, we would have supply drops, airstrikes, things like that, where, a lot of different crazy factors where the commanders have a lot of power over the game. And I would love that it's like an RTS shooter, but on a grander scale, it's more of like a Civilization strategy game. So there's 3 levels to it.
Yeah.
So you zoom in and you're playing a first-person shooter, but you zoom all the way out, and it's a game of Civ, and you're trying to take over the galaxy.
It's one of those, like, the game is a lifestyle type of thing. Like, that's all you're thinking about the entire time, because it's just live, always
we have an
evolving.
Unlimited budget.
Yeah.
That sounds like my perfect game, because I feel like playing an RTS today, boom, I can log in as on my RTS account. I feel like playing a first person shooter, I got a guy for that. I feel like playing Civ, there you go. That would be really cool.
That would be super fun.
It would be so complex to figure out how all that works.
Unlimited budget doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying.
The only thing would be, do we run into the risk of like a Star Citizen where it just never comes out because it's
probably.
Just too hard to make.
It's too much. We would get too big. But I think we do solve a lot of problems with AI. Yeah. Because that pads a lot of it, so we don't need an unreasonable player base.
Right.
So it's like a PlanetSide 2, a StarCraft, a Civ Galaxies, or whatever it's called.
What would you call that game? Couch Company Games presents.
Oh man! See, when we were initially talking about it, it was a Warhammer. It had the Warhammer skin on it. It doesn't have to have that, but I feel like that's the best universe for that, because you have a galaxy, you have factions with unique personalities, unique objectives, unique play styles. Some are more close combat, some are more technologically advanced.
Yeah, so it'd be Warhammer 40,000
Ultimate.
I was like, like Infinite or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
Some generic name, but yeah.
Warhammer 40K Apocalypse.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Be good.
I don't know. That would be so fun.
That'd be fun.
That would be amazing. You haven't really seen Warhammer, so you don't really get the scope of that.
I played Space Marine. I could
Space Marine was fun.
See,
I actually like that
I
game.
could see it going down that path.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
All right, Tyler, what do we have next year?
Yeah, so this kind of falls back to what was like you were talking about with like live action and cartoons and different things like that. But
thank you, Emily, for the question. By the way,
thank you, Emily. Yes.
Before I forget.
But let's listen to this guy.
Hey, Tyler. Hey, John. It's Calvin again. In addition to asking fantastic questions, I just got to say I'm looking forward to being on the podcast at some point in the future, whenever we do that Civilization episode that we've been talking about. But anyway, my question for you guys is, for better or for worse, what's your favorite video game movie? Traditionally, they're all kind of bad, but I'm wondering if you guys have any that you actually did end up liking that you've seen. Have a great day. Bye.
So we talked about this a little bit, the movie adaptations.
Yes.
And I believe, came to the conclusion that there isn't really anything. You said Hitman.
They're all terrible. Hitman is my definitive. If you're talking about a video game movie,
yep.
Hitman is the specifically Timothy Oliphant. Or I'm not talking about Agent 47 or anything like that. Timothy Oliphant's Hitman.
Yep.
Which I think is the official title.
Sure.
That one is very good.
Okay. One thing comes to mind for me. It was like an okay movie, but if we're talking video games to movies, I actually didn't mind the World of Warcraft movie. I thought that was okay. It kind of like a little bit was like, maybe I should check out this world. Like, this is kind of cool. I don't know what's going on because I've never played it really, but
Medivh was a little weird. Like, I would have to see it again.
Yeah.
But
that was years ago. I just remember I went to the theater. I think I went with Calvin, actually, which is kind of funny. I enjoyed it. I was like, that was fine. That was kind of cool. Like, got some, because that was when Hearthstone was real big. So I kind of had like a taste of the WoW world. So I knew some pockets of things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's a card I've seen.
And it was close enough to the source material that it was like you got the gist. Like, it wasn't.
Yeah, I would wonder how someone like Kyle feels about that movie. I haven't really talked to him about that in depth because he's a big World of Warcraft fan.
I would say he's more or less favorable.
I believe maybe I did talk to him about it a little bit because he said something along the lines, I believe, of after you get that section of the story out of the way is when it really picks up.
Yeah, so this is actually pre even like Azeroth.
Right.
Well, it's not pre Azeroth, but like it's like the beginning.
Right.
It's like the prequel. So
exactly.
Like, is that the most interesting part about everything?
Like
no,
big
not
setup.
even close. Yeah.
That would be cool. A Lord of the Rings style World of Warcraft.
It'd
if they had the budget and
it's all there.
Director.
Like, you have all the books, you have everything.
Yeah.
Like,
you could do it. Yeah.
If I could, like, that'd be a perfect thing to talk through. But like, if I could take like a direct, like if I could take Peter Jackson and he makes a Warcraft movie,
exactly.
That would be amazing. How
sick would that be?
That'd be really, really cool.
That could be a whole episode.
Yeah.
We pick our cast and
just go to town.
Wow, yeah, that would be really awesome. Anything else come to mind? I know there was that Assassin's Creed movie. I thought that was just awful.
I didn't even see that with the dude from like Magneto.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was there a Halo movie, or am I making that up?
No, they kind of did. Well, they're I guess technically was,
like
but
animated?
It wasn't like a full feature. No, it was a real live action one. But
I
it was
remember that. Yeah, those were.
It's like a short.
Yeah, those were fine.
I believe, and I could be completely wrong here, but I thought District 9 started out as a Halo movie. And then it kind of devolved into District 9. I thought, or they started using props from the canceled Halo movie in District 9, something like that.
Okay, how about is there anything else you can think of?
I could flip it a little bit and say that X-Men Origins Wolverine. So it's almost in reverse too, right? Where you have these movies. So like, let's take Iron Man, right? Okay. Iron Man, good movie.
Yes.
Well, actually, it's a bad example because the Iron Man game is kind of not bad, but. So a lot of the times you have a movie and then you get a video game off of it and it's a bad video game.
Yes.
I think that X-Men Origins Wolverine is a bad movie that came first.
Video game.
I think the video game was actually a lot of fun.
Interesting. I don't know if I have an example for that.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Maybe Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was good, but like the third one was bad, but the game was good.
Yeah, that's a good that's a good one.
Maybe that's one. So here's a little to take that question and maybe go a little further with that, and we touched on this a little bit with World of Warcraft, but if you could make a movie from a video game, and the movie's going to be good. Let's say the movie's going to be good because you can get whatever cast, whatever director. We don't have to go that in depth with it, but what would you like to see on the big screen? And do you want it to be live action or cartoon or like what kind of style?
I would always want it to be live action. Okay. I don't think I could care.
I just say that because like something like Into the Spider-Verse is fantastic.
Yeah. And, you know what? That's a fair point.
So it doesn't have to be live action, although live action is great.
Do you have something in mind while I think?
I've always wanted to see a League of Legends movie.
Yeah.
An animated movie would be, because I don't know if you've ever seen their cinematics, but they are the best. They are immaculate.
They're very good.
Very clean.
Yeah.
High production. I would love to see that. It's just a movie. Now that would take an unlimited budget because those cinematics probably cost a fortune to make.
I think we talked about it a little bit, but like Mass Effect wouldn't work because of the canon part of it.
Nope.
So what if we did if we're talking about an unlimited movie, we do Mass Effect.
Yep.
But every choice that you do in Mass Effect, you can actually pick. So like the Science Center where you're watching a movie and you have like a little like buzzer. It's like 1 through 4.
It would be like a 48-hour movie.
It'd be amazing though. But like you have the entire audience like voting.
That'd be cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
Except when you get a renegade audience.
Or you do something where maybe it's straight to Netflix. Netflix has done that where you pick
like a Bandersnatch.
Like a choose your adventure thing.
Except that was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, well,
that was like 40 minutes. It was like 30 minutes.
But it could be
Mass
done.
Effect trilogy
could be done.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot of choices.
Although
they did do one. Remember when the original Mass Effect 1 wasn't on PlayStation and 2 came out on PlayStation, so they came out with that quick recap.
Yeah.
That wasn't bad. You could expand on that, okay. Something like that, right? You said that would be live action?
I would make it live action. Yeah. I don't think if you're putting the budget into it, I think Mass Effect needs to be live action. I think you need to actually make it really look.
Yeah, see, because like all the other things I'm thinking of, like Final Fantasy, you can't do live action with that. That would be terrible.
But it's going to be good. You already said it's going to be. It could be. Like that would be a good.
I just think that defies the laws of nature.
It's going to be good, and then it's still bad. That's how bad it is.
But yeah, Warcraft got me thinking. Like, man, what worlds would I love to see on the big? Like a Halo movie, kind of would be cool.
Halo would be the obvious thing.
Wouldn't that be like Gears?
Gears would be very cool.
Gritty. That might be a good live action.
Gears might actually be very easy to pull off. I know Batista is like, I want to be Marcus Phoenix. Like, let me be him.
That would be cool, man.
I'm sure that maybe Calvin was thinking about like the Borderlands movie that's coming out.
You could have The Rock be Coltrane, bro.
You could. I feel like,
or that'd be more like Terry Crews.
Yeah, I feel like Terry Crews would be Coltrane. Right. You can't.
I feel like The Rock's got to be in.
The Rock could be a Dom or
Dom. Sure.
See, here's the problem with that is like. I think The Rock steals the show.
Exactly, right?
And I don't think...
Actually, do you ever see the movie...
Doom?
What's it called? Yeah, I know. I think it's like Pain and Gain or something with Mark Wahlberg.
Yes.
The Rock's a really good supporting character in that.
Yeah.
He doesn't take over because it's Mark Wahlberg. I mean...
Yeah, I mean...
Partly. I don't think that movie got great reviews, but I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like I'm not saying The Rock wouldn't fit in... that universe. It's just
when
like,
I think of big cog soldiers, The Rock's like the first guy. Like he just has the body of a cog soldier.
Yeah, it's just like
of one of the main characters who has no sleeves. And
I think it would be amazing to have The Rock in there, but he's Clayton Carmine, and the only reason you know he's The Rock is because they keep the tattoos on his sleeves.
He's the biggest one. Is that Clayton?
Yeah, the one that lives.
Yeah, he would be Clayton.
He always has the helmet on. Sure. You never see his face. You know it's The Rock. I think that would be funny.
Sick.
That would be a cool
Clayton
twist.
does have sleeveless, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But you see, it's not Clayton's tattoos. It's The Rock's tattoos.
Hey, that's a good idea.
It's a little cameo.
Yeah,
I like
a little
it.
cameo.
Yeah.
You're paying way too much for a hooded character who never talks.
Unlimited budget.
Yeah, true.
And just whatever. Like he talks. He
does. Out of the Carmines, I think he's the most dialogue and interaction with the story.
Yeah, I think.
How much do I love the Carmine brothers as a trope? I don't even know.
You text me about daily, like just talking about them, like telling them backstories and stuff. Like
I use it in every one of my D&D campaigns.
Yeah,
there's 3 brothers and like 2 of them die. I don't know. I love that.
So Saving Private Ryan is the best movie then. Yeah.
It's in my top 10. It's like 7 or something.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good movie.
It's very good.
When you have a beginning, is that the best intro to any movie ever?
It's a devastating intro, I guess.
Like best is in, yeah.
Best is in getting you right in the action and showing you what the hell the movie's about. Yeah, I could say it's up there.
You're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching, you ever see Baby Driver?
No, I don't think so.
It's like a heist movie kind of, except the dude's like a wheelman. The opening 6 minutes were really cool. It's just like an awesome car chase.
Nice.
And the movie's really interesting. They like utilize the soundtrack because the guy has the main character has tinnitus, so he's always listening to music.
Okay.
So everything that happens in the movie interacts with what song he's playing with. So like, there's a big drum hit. He'll like hit a pothole. Cool, it's real cool. I don't know why I thought of it. Great intro. That's why.
Yeah.
Awesome opening scene.
So how good do you think the Borderlands movie is going to be?
I didn't even know there was going to be a Borderlands movie.
Oh, didn't you?
No.
Oh, yeah. That's like, it's like done filming. Like they're in post-production now.
God, that sounds awful.
It sounds awful, but when you look at the cast, so like Kevin Hart is in it. Jack Black is in it. Jack Black is Claptrap, which is interesting to me.
If anyone can do Claptrap, I don't think it's going to be good. Borderlands is so unique.
What Metacritic score do you think it's going to be? This is something we'll revisit whenever it comes out. Either. Go ahead and do both.
Okay. So like Rotten Tomatoes, or we just talking about
Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic score, critics like what do you think?
Rotten Tomatoes, critics 58, audience
critics 58.
Yep.
Wow, you're generous, man.
I don't think they're going to be doing a lot of uplifting messaging, and I don't think the critics will like it, and because they don't get video games either, right? So I don't think they're ever friendly to that. I'll say audience 67.
Wow.
I don't think it's gonna be good.
So I think critics are giving it like a 38. Like a
you're
bottom
probably
of the barrel.
Right. Yeah,
like 58 is actually not the worst.
You know what? No,
like
I
I'd
would
be
say
shocked.
What do you need to get a red tomato? Like a 60 or?
Yeah, you're probably right. Like I'm not sure.
It would definitely be green. I would say 58 still because Jack Black can hold his own and Kevin Hart. Like they won't kill those guys.
That's true, and I guess technically Jumanji was decently received.
Yeah,
so
I thought that was okay.
I think the audience.
First one.
So here's the thing, and this is the only saving grace: is it seems like all of the characters are into the Borderlands movie. It seems like it's a star-studded cast. Like Jamie Lee Curtis is in it.
Dude,
like
Kevin Hart has not played Borderlands.
Maybe not. Oh, so Kevin Hart is the only one that I'm just like, why did you get Kevin Hart?
Who played Superman?
Brandon Routh?
No, the most recent one.
Henry Cavill. I know.
Henry Cavill.
I like to shout out to Brandon Routh.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, that's
the underrated Superman. Anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
Henry Cavill is like a big time gamer, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
which is why
he's played The Witcher. Yeah, no, that's
Witcher.
what I'm saying. You need someone like him, but there's such a rarity that it's.
I love watching those interviews, and they're like, "Oh yeah, and you read the Witcher books." He's like, "No, I played the video game, and then I went and read the books." Whenever he was doing the Witcher stuff, like I'm happy that he's comes out as saying like, "No, I'm a gamer. I enjoy playing this."
He's very transparent. He's not a poser at all. Like, who's the guy who's real into D&D? Not Vin Diesel.
No. John Manganiello or Manganiello. Joe Manganiello.
Is it the big guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm butchering his name.
Yeah,
but the guy from True Blood.
Sure. But yeah, he's like super into like D&D and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's got a big basement and everything, right? And it's just hilarious when people try to talk to him about it and they just know nothing.
And he just goes
like he was on Colbert.
Yeah.
And Colbert was like, beholders? And he's like, yeah. And
it's like
he's like next card. But yeah. Like it was so funny. Like it's just like you get exposed real fast.
Yeah. It's the thing is like I used to play D&D because like that's the cool thing to say now.
Yeah.
And it's a tough thing because you don't want to necessarily call them posers because like I play D&D, but I'm not. But I would say that I play D&D, and there'll be times when I'll talk and say like, "Oh, I liked this part of the story or whatever." But I will never be on the same level as something like you or Josh or Nate or whatever, like understanding what that is.
That's fair.
So,
I guess let me give you an example of the flip side of that. Who's the guy who did who's in like The Social Network and the Magic movies?
Jesse
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Is that his last name?
Yes.
If it's not, whoops.
No, it's Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah.
So he was doing remember those magic heist movies? And he was doing a promo for that, and he was doing a card trick, and it was like a classic one where it's a card flip or something. I forget what it's called, but essentially what you do is you have two cards and you're holding it like you have to be right in front of someone, and it's a card snap. So you snap and you flip the card, and what you're doing is you're holding a card behind. So he was doing it on his talk show, and he's doing it to the talk show host so everyone can see what the trick is. So it's obviously he learned this trick in like 2 seconds, and it was so sloppy, and like every magician like had a reaction video to this on YouTube because it was so awful and just smearing the name of like, card tricks.
Right.
So that's like the flip side of it, where it's like, oh yeah, I got into magic, like here's a cool trick, and then it just does it awful. And
it's tough because like you naturally want to protect your nerddom. Right. Like whatever you are geeked about or excited about or something, like you want to have that make you special,
right?
So that when somebody comes in and like they maybe they don't think it's as like good as, sorry, my cat is jumping on the table. If they're not as into it as you per se, I think the natural human reaction, like you should be, oh, that's awesome, you're getting into something that I like. We can
sure
talk about together or whatever.
I think the magician's point of view on that, and we've devolved way off course.
I know, yeah.
But I think their point of view on that was like, you never take that on live TV with a trick looking that poor.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
So
it's like you're. It's an offense. It's not that he's trying to get into it. You know, if it's one thing if he like made a video and he's like, oh, I'm trying to do this. Here's like how I'm doing it. Here's my progress. But this was like, oh yeah, I know this trick. I learned this for the movie.
Yeah.
Look at me, and it's terrible.
Right.
And you've exposed the trick to everyone because you're holding it the wrong way. That's when they're like, okay, like any any average magician knows, like you're not ready for the stage. This is bad. You're making a mockery out of it. So those are the kind. I guess that's the flip side of what I was saying.
That's fair. Rolling it back in.
Mailbag.
Mail time. Thanks, Calvin, for the question.
Mail time. Here's the mail that never. You a Blue's Clues guy?
I'm not. I understand what you were saying, but
okay. As long as you're on the same page. Thank you, Calvin, for the question.
Yeah, thanks, Calvin.
We kind of went off on a tangent, but I hope we answered it for you.
Yeah, we'll do Civ.
We'll do Civ.
Sometime.
We'll get you on. We want to have guests on. There's logistical things that we still need to set up on that. We want to have a bunch of guys on, so stay tuned for that. I can't promise any dates or anything, but
it's tough. I mean, it costs $750 just to get 2 more people.
I think there's a way we can call in, but then we got to mess with levels.
We'll figure it out. For right now, I mean, Calvin is the one leaving the messages, which is very helpful.
Yeah,
but
we always appreciate that for sure. So just stay tuned. All right, I got another one. This one comes from David. He asked us about the universe, like what our favorite universes were last week, 2 weeks ago. This time, he asks us, it's a superhero question, what makes a superhero powerful? And the example he gives is Batman is considered one of the most powerful heroes, superheroes, but he has no powers. So what is it that makes them that way?
Yeah.
Now for Batman, he's just OP because he's smart as hell.
Sure.
He seems to be like 10 steps ahead of everyone else, right? But yeah, I think it's a combination. Like obviously, number one is powers, because let's face it, like what powers you have is going to indicate some sort of strength level on some scale. Because Superman's just got OP powers. And
I mean, Superman would destroy Batman.
Theoretically.
Superman would and this is me saying how much I love Batman.
Dude, what if Batman's got kryptonite in his pocket, bro?
Doesn't matter. I think Superman like Superman is flying at supersonic speed. Even if you have kryptonite, it's not like kryptonite acts on Superman that quickly.
Yeah.
Even if you're going 100,000 miles an hour, let's say kryptonite slows him 20 miles an hour.
Just to be in the Batman camp, just to have him, I agree with you, but just to devil's advocate here, Batman is so smart, intelligent, that he's going to know ahead of time that Superman's hostile towards him. So he's going to be prepping.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a battle arena and it's just Superman and Batman, like obviously.
My thing is like,
but Batman wins before the fight even happens.
But Superman
in situations like
punches planets.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't win, and I love
Dude,
Batman. I just don't...
literally. It's like Superman punches Earth and blows it up, and Batman literally used his teleporter to get to a different Earth. And now he recruits that Superman to come and fight this Superman. Like, that's the level Batman's playing at.
I got you. Yeah. I mean,
it's just bullshit, and he gets away. Like, that's what I'm saying.
So are you saying Batman's powerful because of his mind?
Yeah, it's his mind. It's his planning.
His money.
Yes, that definitely has a big influence on it. It's his warped perception of life.
Sure.
To the absolute pursuit of justice.
Is the question specifically superheroes? What makes them powerful?
Yeah, right. Yeah, superheroes. So, okay. I mean, we could expand that to any character, but
I was just thinking like do you have to is?
Oh no, it could be villains. Sure. Like what makes a villain powerful? Like the Joker is powerful because of his willingness to do anything. Mm-hmm. His unpredictability. He has no line. He won't cross.
Right.
Batman has a leg up on Superman because Superman has a conscience.
Right.
Joker doesn't.
Yeah.
Joker will kill Batman in a heartbeat. Maybe not Batman specifically because he wants that game to continue, but he'll kill Robin. He'll kill Barbara Gordon. He'll kill Commissioner Gordon, whoever. Joker's dangerous, man. Imagine Joker with powers.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like, I mean, when you say like what makes a hero powerful, is part of that like the will. So
you're saying like villains are more powerful because they're willing to do more.
That's what I mean. Is like at the end of the day, I guess it's like if you're talking about a villain, their power comes from their determination.
Yes.
Versus like a hero where it's like, I guess it's still, you could still boil it down to determination.
But a hero
it's
like limited by so many factors. You're trying to save people. Yeah, you're trying to preserve Earth.
I would argue heroes are more like perseverance, even where it's just like, okay, I'm just going to keep plodding through, even though like, let's say Superman or Spider-Man, like there's all these arcs of like, even Batman, the Nolan films where it's just like, people aren't ready for a superhero. They don't like superheroes, and he'll persevere through it. That's what makes him powerful. Or that's what makes his symbol powerful.
Right.
Where villains are just very much like they're powerful because they won't stop, like you said, like with Thanos and stuff. So
right. Yeah, that's a good point. Like something like Thanos, where his absolute pursuit of domination, and he doesn't care who you are.
Yeah.
Helps him incredibly.
Yeah, so the relentlessness, just determination. Yeah,
it's just no boundaries. Something like Doomsday, which is a little bit different because he doesn't even have like a specific goal. He's just a crazed animal that wants total destruction.
Yeah,
and wants to kill Superman. And Doomsday is one of my favorite villains just because of how powerful. Like he's just strong. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have like a purpose. He's not a deep character.
Right.
You're not like analyzing his motivations. He just fucks shit up. There's something to be said about that.
Yeah, I mean, he's Joker, but with
not even because Joker wants everyone to suffer.
Yeah.
Doomsday just wants absolute destruction.
Yeah.
Joker wants you to just be depressed, mortified. He wants you to want death. Doomsday doesn't care. He'll give you a quick death. He just wants to blow it all up.
Yeah. I mean, so at the end of the day, are we saying, and this is where it gets a little darker, are we saying like ultimately determination is a better power than perseverance?
Having a goal in mind. So like who the strongest characters are, in comics, it's like Darkseid, Thanos, Galactus, Silver Surfer, I guess.
And like the good guys always have to win. That's just the comics and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, Stan Lee has like a famous quote where he's like, asked about who's stronger, and he's like, whoever I want to be.
Yeah. right.
So at the end of the day the good guys win, right? But theoretically the bad guys are the most powerful because of their determination.
Like on
like
paper,
a Thanos,
like, right?
He has a goal and he will not let anything stop him from that goal. There are no lines he will not cross to achieve the goal. Now that's why I think Joker's better. Because Joker doesn't even
You're
necessarily
saying Joker is more powerful
because
than
Thanos
Batman.
Needs the stones. Okay?
Oh, we're talking Joker and Thanos.
He's limited by his pursuit of the stones. So if someone has a stone, they now have leverage. Like he'll do whatever he can to kill them, but if it's like I'll kill the stone.
Yeah,
let's say theoretically someone could blow up
yeah.
the stone. Okay, now Thanos needs a different, so he's limited by that.
Right.
Joker doesn't fucking care.
Yeah.
Doesn't care if he lives, dies, who dies, as long as something happens.
So you're saying, but then I guess like that's the thing. Are we? What is power? Is that the other half of that question?
Yeah, because Joker doesn't have anything.
Yeah,
so
like Thanos
at the end of the day,
in 2 seconds.
at the end of the day, I would say power comes from your physical power, but mentally or spiritually, whatever. It's your freedom of motivation, I would put it. So the most powerful person, in my opinion, would be Doomsday, because he doesn't care about anything. He even Darkseid has a goal. He wants galactic conquest.
Right.
So that's a little bit hard because he's just going to run you over and take over. So maybe Darkseid 2 doesn't really have a flaw in that specific instance, but something like that where it's like he's not after an artifact. He's after total conquest.
Yep. Singular purpose.
What can you hold over his head? He cares about no one. Mm-hmm. He cares about nothing but that. So as long as his own life, but that then again, that's where Doomsday or Joker is better than Darkseid, because Darkseid cares about his own life. Joker doesn't care if he dies.
Well, that's the thing. So this gets super dark, but are you saying that like apathy?
Yes.
Is
that's what I mean by freedom.
Increases your power.
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
Think about everything that you stop from doing in life.
Yeah.
Like why you don't rob a bank, why you don't do something, like why you don't go 120 down the street.
Yeah.
Well, not Autobahn, you would. Why do you stop doing these things? You care about something, yourself, other people, staying out of jail, like whatever.
Yeah.
You care about the law, like you have all these factors. Strip that away.
Yeah. So
and give yourself powers.
Freedom of inhibition.
You're free, exactly. You're free, and you have negative intent, like Doomsday. Because Doomsday, every time he dies, he regenerates, and he's immune to the last way he died.
So, like, how do super... I mean, granted, this just turns into because they're written that way. Yeah. But then, like, how can superheroes beat villains? Just because they're written that way.
Power of friendship.
Naturally, yeah.
No, I mean, I guess... the argument, I guess, at that point,
because like we're saying
that they're more powerful. Yeah,
villains should be more powerful than
I
heroes.
would say villains get in their own way because they're egos, so they're less likely to team up. So usually you're having a team versus singular person.
Okay,
like a Thanos. Imagine if Thanos teamed up with a lot of other. Well, I guess he did, but no one on his level. Anyone who could threaten Thanos, he would never make a partnership with someone. He has to rule. Darkseid's the same way. Things of that nature.
Yeah.
Their egos are so big that whereas, the Avengers can create the Avengers because they're selfless. They want to help, and they will sacrifice being the main hero to be a team and be able to stop these big threats.
That's
like
fair.
Loki's downfall is his hubris, right?
Yeah.
He's not willing.
So you're saying that on paper, villains are more powerful. But
I guess technically not, because their egos get in the way.
But that's what I'm saying is they have also, because they are more powerful, but their flaws are also more powerful to cancel it out, and then it's a deficit.
Exactly. So I guess superheroes we
just dissected that.
Because if you go back to someone like Doomsday, he is unwilling to work with anyone because he wants to kill everyone.
Right. Yeah.
So there you go. That's a huge weakness.
That's fair enough.
You need friends. In conclusion,
you need friends.
Powers. Determination, selflessness, being agreeable, a lot of factors.
Friends.
The power of friendship.
Yes,
is ultimately. It's a meme, but it's kind of true a little bit, I guess.
Or so we're led to believe.
Yes. All right, we have one more. If you're ready for it.
Absolutely.
This one comes from Nate.
Yep.
And it's a good one. What game would you say defines each genre? Like when you think of an MMO, people would say World of Warcraft. So what about a shooter, an RPG, platform game, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
Good question.
Very good question, yeah.
First of all, would you say WoW defines an MMO? Probably.
Yes.
I'm trying to think.
We're picking one game that...
Yeah, it's World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Easily.
Sure.
That's like, talk about took the world by storm.
Yeah.
That definitely would be the MMO. Okay, what about a shooter? I guess we just go down the list here.
Yeah, shooters Call of Duty. Has to be.
Which one?
Probably Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
I know we keep talking about it. Or Modern, I would go on a limb.
You would go Modern Warfare, but I think Modern Warfare 2 had more of an impact on culture than...
it's...
Like, I remember MW2 on the news, man.
Yeah, but I mean, Call of Duty 4 was too. I mean, like
I don't think it was the same extent.
It wasn't, because you had like the controversy on 2, which is why it was mainly on the news and stuff. So it wasn't. I think that
but that factors.
People would talk, like, if you're talking about like a shooter and stuff in today's culture. Now, if we're talking just like a shooter, I think Doom is a good example. Yep. Battlefield, Halo, everything that we talked about before. Yeah. But in terms of
we have to
just
redo our top five list as well.
Yeah, well, here the thing with if you're just taking like the most popular thing or the thing that is most recognizable, it has to be Call of Duty.
Yes, I don't Call of Duty. I agree.
Yeah,
but which one is it? Is a valid question. I would say it's either between 4 or Modern Warfare 2.
It would be 2 between those two.
Yeah,
I think 4 impacted the industry more.
Sure,
I think 2 iterated.
Okay.
And added to it for sure. But like 4 was the one with progression and
Modern
everything
Warfare 2 did more for gaming
than
in 4 did.
I guess in what sense are you
okay, so 4 pushed shooters forward, but I think 2 is just more of a cultural experience, like I was saying. Like I said, dude, you went to high school. I was in...
I think that might be a more generational thing.
It might be. Maybe I'm misremembering it. I'm sure you had the same experience with Call of Duty 4.
And I did. So that's
everyone played it. Everyone.
Yeah, right.
Didn't matter what group you were part of. You were going home. You're getting on Xbox. You were playing Modern Warfare 2.
And technically 2 way outsold 4. So like, it has to be
2
better.
2 was one of the most high sold games ever.
But then 3 beat that, and Black Ops beat that, and it's just like it keeps going up. So I mean,
what's the point of like what is the reason? Is it 4?
I'm looking at more as like a franchise, because like even World of Warcraft, like which expansion, or
but
something
those are
like
expansions.
That.
It's the same game.
It is, but those expansions change the game.
Sure.
So
okay,
at that point, like if you were to
Duty.
ask like Kyle, he was like, "Oh, like Burning Crusade's like very good."
Yeah,
like that's the one, right?
Okay. Yeah, I would say Call of Duty then, and if we had to pick an iteration, Modern Warfare 2 or Call of Duty 4.
What else we have? RPG, Final Fantasy 7.
Really?
It has to be.
People regard 6 as the best.
Okay,
Is Final Fantasy 7 the best RPG ever made?
Well, are we saying is that his question?
No, it's not. It's not. It's
okay.
What defines it.
Yes.
7 defines RPGs. Like, were RPGs never the same after Final Fantasy 7?
I'm not saying that. Oh, so you're saying
that's what I'm saying. So it's like World of Warcraft came out, and it's like that's an MMO.
Then let me go back.
This is what everyone builds off of.
Then it is Call of Duty 4.
Then it is Call of Duty 4 because Modern Warfare 2 had to build itself off of that.
So
sure, that's a good
I go
point.
Back on that. For RPG, I mean, so 7 maybe not. Maybe it
Don't get me
is
wrong,
like
7 was huge.
Maybe it is Final Fantasy. I don't know.
If we're talking about the West, 7 Final Fantasy 7 brought JRPGs to the West.
It's
definitively.
Yeah, like I think I'm reading that question as you talk to just a random person and it's just like, oh hey, name one RPG. I think Final Fantasy 7 comes up more than basically any other RPG. Yeah.
I don't think it comes up as much as World of Warcraft comes up for MMO.
You're probably right, but then think about just the sheer number of MMOs or JRPGs versus MMOs.
Sure.
It'd be the same with shooter. Like, hey, name a first person shooter.
But it's RPG, not necessarily JRPG, unless we're making a distinction.
I don't think there's a distinction there. I think maybe you could.
Mass Effect's an RPG. Fallout's an RPG.
I don't think Mass Effect changed anything.
No, I'm just saying like those
Fallout,
are two
Fallout
very
might, Skyrim might,
different styles. Skyrim could be in the conversation. Yeah. Those are two very different. Like JRPGs are much different than other RPGs.
Completely agree with you.
Yeah,
I think Final Fantasy 7
to me it's a different genre.
So
if we're saying JRPG, Final Fantasy 7. Yeah, I'm with you.
If you had to put them together, though, I still would say 7 because if you look at cosplaying, and if you go to Comic-Con, like how many Clouds and Aeriths and Tifas and all that stuff, like.
How many Skyrim guys are there?
Yeah, that's. I mean, but okay, how many Skyrim guys are there?
There are Skyrim guys.
Some. but not.
No, it's not. It's not Cloud. It's not.
Yeah, it's not how much of an impact.
There's just something about the JRPG that you get it at the right time in the right place, and it's your favorite thing
ever.
And
if you have it as like this, worldwide renown, then that's.
I don't know. There's something about the Japanese. They know how to really hit your nostalgia feelings. So like. Yeah. It's really hard to explain, but you get this feeling when you watch. Like, this is why everyone who watches anime is a freak, and they want everyone else to watch anime, because you get those feelings where it's like, this is the greatest watching experience I've ever had.
Everyone has to take part in it. Yeah,
you're like, dude, this is the Ark of the Covenant. Why isn't everyone? You know what I mean? Like, why isn't everyone taking a look at this?
Yeah.
Well, because it burns your face off. But
true.
Seriously, there's something about it that I don't know what it is. Is it the hours you put into it? Because JRPGs tend to be a lot longer playtime than other games.
Is it even a bragging rights thing too, where it's just like, I mean, that's the same with like, we mentioned like Tarkov, or we mentioned other games where there's some pedigree there. Same with even like Dark Souls, right? Like if you go through, you play Dark Souls, and you're like,
Dark Souls would be. Because it's like its own genre.
Well, it's called a Souls-like.
Yes.
Like that clearly means it defines that genre. Yeah.
Easily.
So if you want to talk about like side-scrolling and different things like that, like Metroidvanias, right? So you have Metroid and Castlevania. You have a Horde mode, which was coined by Gears of War, and how many games have a Horde mode in it.
Sure.
They might change the name, but it's still the same thing there.
Yeah.
So I think all of that stuff, like if you were talking about like an action adventure, I think that could be a super wide thing. That would be a tough one.
Action adventure.
Yeah. Now, if you're talking about platformer, obviously Mario, like that's not even.
Yeah, that's easy time.
But I think out of all these, so like horror, it depends on who you talk to, because I would say Resident Evil would be the hallmark thing.
I think.
But you could talk about like Five Nights at Freddy's too.
No.
From a popularity standpoint.
No. The popularity, but it's not. That didn't change the game.
No,
Resident Evil changed the game.
Right, Resident Evil would be the thing. But action adventure, what changes the game? Is it Tomb Raider?
Tough.
Is it
Tomb Raider? I think of Uncharted. Kind of changed the game.
But Uncharted,
we got to go back.
That's what I mean. But Uncharted is based off of Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider.
When you look at it,
like
it's
PS1 Tomb Raider,
puzzles, it's shooting,
yeah.
it's adventure.
Is Tomb Raider the action adventure face? There's got to be something before that.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there is, but like what changed the game? I feel like Tomb Raider.
I'm just not experienced with that era of.
Yeah, well, but you got to think about it. Like, what has stood the test of time? Where if Tomb Raider was an action adventure game back in the day, they're still making Tomb Raiders. What was something back in the day that they're still making? I'm sure there's stuff that we're just not thinking of right now. Zelda, okay, perfect example.
Yeah.
Then I would actually change mine to Legend of Zelda, and that would be the.
Because that's not really RPG, right? It's action adventure.
Yeah, I would say that's action adventure.
Yeah. So Legend of Zelda, I think.
Was there any more on the list? Like what about like a racing? Like, are we talking
racing game would be Forza. I mean, Gran Turismo, but those faded.
I would say Need for Speed.
Oh, but those games aren't made anymore. Those
a couple years ago they did, but what I'm saying is,
you're talking like Burnout, things like that.
Yeah, but Need for Speed was like the car game back in the day.
Gran Turismo was.
You think?
PlayStation 1.
Before Need for Speed though?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, hey, I'll take your word for it.
I remember this specifically because I looked at a lot of like PlayStation 1 lists to try to get my list together of what I've played catalog. Gran Turismo is regarded as one of the best. Now, what was Need for Speed on? Was that before Gran Turismo?
I thought Need for Speed was. I mean, it was like PC at first, but like maybe
you're right. Maybe I just remember Gran Turismo changed the game of racing because it was very realistic. I mean, two different things. Like, those are two branches.
Yeah, but I guess one is like simulation racing, and one's
survived?
Racing. Yeah,
the realistic.
Yeah,
Forza survived.
Yeah, I mean, Need for Speed, they still keep coming out with them. They're not.
Shell is for himself.
Yeah, they're not really.
Burnouts were so fun though.
Yeah,
I was watching like that the other day because I'm going through cataloging.
Right. Any other categories on there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe sports game. I don't know. Probably like Madden or something.
Yeah, it's Madden. It's just Madden.
I was thinking about a retro game.
So that's actually an interesting one.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking like arcade game, Pac-Man. Yep. I think Pac-Man's one. Galaga is one.
Tetris
is one.
Is Pac-Man the face of retro gaming? Probably.
Yes.
Like people just know Pac-Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
but
a
people
reason
know
why
Tetris as well.
Well, it's like you look at like Namco Arcade. There's always Pac-Man on that arcade.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
all the other stuff is
Pac-Man
just like from
was huge.
Pac-Man's
yeah,
it.
Pac-Man was really big. So I would probably say that.
Yeah, like if you're talking about like what changed it, then it would have been like Pong, right? But
yeah,
Pac-Man
Pong was first, but
Pac-Man
no, Pac-Man like put gaming on the map, right? Like that's more kind of along the lines of what the question's saying, at least
right.
I believe. Yeah, is there anything worth forgetting? I think that really covers most of it. I'm sure there's something we're forgetting.
Yeah, I mean, you can go into like these like subcategories and different things like that. Like you have like roguelites and things like that. But again,
sure.
like that's the thing is rogue is like it's like
it's what anything that's named after it.
Exactly. Yeah.
RTS, StarCraft.
Yeah,
Warcraft.
I think we said that. No, it would be
StarCraft.
StarCraft. I think that's the more popular one. Yeah.
That's really like esports.
Unless you want to big brain it and say it would be Warcraft because that gave you MOBAs.
It did. I think StarCraft, because StarCraft changed the game.
I do too. Yeah.
Like when I think of RTS, StarCraft first thing instantly, and MOBAs, I would say League. You say Dota?
Dota was first, right? I think so. I guess,
yeah, maybe.
It depends on how we translate that question. I would say League.
I don't know what the early days of either were.
If you're asking what was the impact, then it has to be Dota.
What's the face of MOBAs? Or what defines the genre?
Well, that's the thing is it's a little ambiguous. I would say League of Legends is obviously more.
I think it defines the genre.
Yeah, than League of Legends.
I think so. I'm biased.
We'll give it to League. Yeah, no, we'll do that for you. That's fine. Yeah.
I think that's all I can think of though. But that's a really good question.
No,
it's
a good one.
Interesting to think about what is the face of every kind of game that builds off of that, because you have this balance between old school originality, but also changing the game at the same time, right? So not necessarily being the first, but being like the face.
It's the staying power.
The staying power definitely factors in. So great question. Thanks, Nate. I knew he was going to give us a good one.
Yeah,
so I'm
thanks,
glad
Nate.
he
It's very thought-provoking.
Yeah. And so a lot of questions from our buddies this week. I really enjoyed that. That was really fun.
Yeah, it was a cool, like, kind of, it's not a bonus episode. Like, this is, what is it?
Episode 11, yeah.
But it's nice to mix it up and just be like, okay, hey, here's everything that people wanted to ask. And, like, these are all basically video game questions-ish.
I'm surprised,
less, like,
so usually, I know we've been getting, like, good responses on our tier lists that are not necessarily video game focused.
Yeah.
People like listening to that, but when you ask them for questions, they give us, I think we are essentially a video game podcast at the core of it, I would say.
Yeah, that's the category, leisure / video game.
We got some range, though, I would say. But yeah, I hope people enjoyed getting an answer to their questions on that.
Yeah, thanks for them.
All right, so, we're going to be here same time, same place next week. You can catch us on couchcompany.games. That's going to be the central hub. You'll get to where you need to go for whatever content you're trying to find from us. We've got some things in the work, like we've been talking about. Pyre gameplay coming out on our Twitch. We got YouTube coming out. Finish that Grandia stream. We're going to get that up for you guys. More podcasts. We're making a game at some point.
Yep.
We got a lot in the works. Might make a movie. You better watch out for Couch Company.
Jamie Lee Curtis and Jack Black are already signed on. Maybe Kevin Hart, but we'll see. Yeah.
I don't like Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart's all right.
It's the same role in every movie, man.
What about Bill Burr? Can we pull Bill Burr in?
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr will be playing the role of Kevin Hart.
He's amazing.
That's fine, yeah.
Send us questions. We love answering your questions.
Doesn't have to be video games. It can be anything. Literally
stay tuned.
Anything.
Next week, we'll get back with our top 5. Do we know what's going to be there, or we'll
got
let
some
them
thoughts?
know?
I don't want to spoil it.
Okay,
yeah,
we won't spoil it. I was going to maybe give them a tease, but if we want to surprise them, we will do that. But stay tuned; it's going to be a juicy one. I can guarantee you that.
Absolutely.
So, for us at the Couch Company, we really appreciate you watching here. Thanks for joining us on the couch, and we will see you next time. Peace.